Finding a local, experienced custom home builder and remodeling contractor is a challenge. Since March of 1993, with a commitment to change and improve the quality of workmanship in this trade, Andrew Lohmeyer has strived to build his company to be the best in Maryland and build not just customer contacts, but friendships. ALC Contractors is an award-winning custom home builder serving clients of Central Maryland. A custom home builder that works with you every step of the way, from the design process to the completed project. If you'd like to see examples of our custom homes up close, just ask and we can give you some references. Contact us today to learn more about our custom homes, green homes, home additions, garages, home theaters, and kitchen remodeling projects. We can turn your dreams into reality. Call us at 410-356-7300 for your free home additions remodeling quote. ALC Contractors. Finding a local, experienced custom home builder and remodeling contractor is a challenge. Since March of 1993, with a commitment to change and improve the quality of workmanship in this trade, Andrew Lohmeyer has strived to build his company to be the best in Maryland and build not just customer contacts, but friendships. ALC Contractors is an award-winning custom home builder serving clients of Central Maryland. A custom home builder that works with you every step of the way, from the design process to the completed project. If you'd like to see examples of our custom homes up close, just ask and we can give you some references. Contact us today to learn more about our custom homes, green homes, home additions, garages, home theaters, and kitchen remodeling projects. We can turn your dreams into reality. Call us at 410-356-7300 for your free home additions remodeling quote. ALC Contractors.
A new season has come upon here in Daytona International Speedway, and a new series joins into the Speed Zone TV show. Race fans and friends alike, we are now live here in Daytona Beach, Florida, as we're now presenting to you the Heart to Heart Motorsports here on Speed Zone TV. Hi everyone, I am Christian Shriver, the dead man with the hot mic in hand, and right now we are live here on the track with our first showing of the IROC series of Heart to Heart Motorsports here in their first race of the season opener, kicking off down live here in Daytona Speedway. Let's get down to business here and see who we got on our lineup here. We'll start them on the pole. It will be the number 11 of Lane Powell, the outside, number 15, that's going to be Vincent Short. Row number 2 in the 71, it's Lucas Wright, the outside, and the 31 is Andrew Lohmeyer. Row number 3 in the 5 is Rusty Robinson, the outside, and that 33 is Jonathan Campbell. Row 4 in the 44, it's Rocco Stallone. The outside in the 9 is Alan Marr. Row number 5 in the 6-7, that's going to be William Yocum. The outside, that will be Frank Caruso in the 14. Row 6 is the 12 of Dan Colson. The outside of them will be the number 20 of Benny Jones. Row number 7 is going to be fielded down there by the number 8 of Ronald Robertson, the outside, the 00, BJ Lane. Row 8 is the number 69 of James Borden, the outside, and the 95 is Austin Cornprops. Row number 9 in the 02 is Bobby Lane Jr., the outside, the 03 is Scott Kazanve. Row 10 is the 91 of Joe Flack. The outside of the number 50 is Ryan Perrone. Row number 11 in the number 2 is William Martin. The outside of the 79, Brandon Resler. And finally, shotgun on the field tonight will be the number 13, Steve Harrison. That's our starting lineup here. Now, I'm pretty sure I probably made a mistake on someone's name down there. So if I messed up, do not come at me with pitchforks and torches. Have some face into the announcer. Help me out. You can whack me upside the head with a frying pan, but just let me know how to say it right next time. Well, race fans, we are now down to get to the show. We are now here to get ready to race. Field of drivers, 23 in all, looking to set the tone and set themselves on the highest of notes. Major opportunities at stake and major moments at risk today. Which one of these drivers will get the early jump in the IROC series? Soon to be figured out here. Take a quick look at our track details here today. Presented in part by our friends at Allen Tillery Chevrolet. Daytona International Speedway, nearly 2.5 miles in length. This track is no easy task. Plate Speedway here. Definitely watch for the drivers to be making their moves and making their runs where they can and looking for openings in all directions. Through the front straightaway here, leading them down for the first time in the season. We bring them you live here on Speed Zone TV. Green flag flies up in the air. We send them on down. Down through the first set of corners here, it will be Lane Powell taking the early advance from the number 11 with the 71 of Lucas White right behind him. Vincent Short in the number 15 right now. Got some company on his back doorstep here with Andrew Lohmeyer here, giving him a little bit of a push, trying to find some speed in between as every driver right now tries to keep themselves clean and green. Yeah, you're going to be seeing this a lot early on. You're going to see a lot of the drivers kind of spread themselves thin and kind of wearing themselves out a little bit. A lot of them are going to be trying to figure out the best tempo, best timing. And with a car like this, it is no easy task. This O'Reilly Series Auto Parts car is a very unique car in its own right, but not the most challenging car in the world. However, in terms of what it offers in specs and speed, it very much is the closest thing you can get to an IROC style car. Joining us in the comment section so far has been Tina Lane saying good luck. He'll say who's going to win. Heart to Heart Streams joins us as well. Says let's go. Cayenne Henderson, I hope I'm saying that name right, says come on Lane. Nikki Short joins us, says let's go racing, go Short. And the Pottle says good luck to all the drivers out there. Great to have everyone of you on board here. Keep chatting away in the comments. I'll be looking them over as I go. I am a one-man wrecking crew in this announcer's booth, so I will probably get a little repetitive sometimes without being able to join you guys. So if you chat away, I will work with you as well. Speaking of working with a little bit right now, that double O BJ Lane, not too douchebabby out of the gate. He's got 4 spots up out of the rig. Qualified in the 14th spot right now, holding into the 10th place here. But as you can see, trying not to get too crazy too quickly. Maybe just trying to give himself a little bit of leverage, a little bit of ground clearance for the early going. He needs to stay focused on the lane. He needs to stay focused on his driving mobility. One thing, again, these drivers are going to be looking for is openings when they can, catch the draft when they have to, and making sure to save tire, save the fuel, do what they need to. Dash Seeds, I hope I'm saying that right, says let's go William Yocom, and then Luamas Ren says let's go 11 and 33, my boys. All right, great to have you all on board. Thanks for joining us tonight. So far, right out of the gate, the number 1 seed here, Lane Powell, and the number 11 has been pretty much keeping the race lead all to himself. That's not from a lack of trying, though, on the driver's part. A lot of it really just has to boil down to the fact it is early, so they are trying again to stay away from getting too chaotic. Now there's you got a little bit of run up there from Alan Marr. Alan Marr getting a little bit close in the gap and having some trouble on the back side of him there. He had William Yoakum and James Borden literally crisscrossing up on the back end there, right beside him, and then up on top of him. Thankfully avoided trouble and stayed out of any messes there that could have been worse for Ware. We're on board with William Yoakum. And again, you can just see how much swerving around the track these cars are doing. Again, that's really always hindering down to just the mere fact of that they have to constantly stay in that throttle and constantly stay in control of their own shots here. These cars, they do not like to be pushed into a certain spot or certain territory without some kind of level of control and speed here. And that's what they're trying to avoid, what they're trying to make sure they stay one step ahead of in that transition, as well as the heart and soul of the draft. Yeah, Anderson says 11 going to take it home. Keep holding them, old son. Well, right now, if that 11 keeps doing what he's doing, I would not disagree with that. Let's go on board with him. So if you're going to try and figure out why exactly 11's leading so much right now, well, here again, there's two big factors here. Rule factor number one. Right now, you can see just where he's holding the race lane. Look at as he stays right just above the yellow line. Not only is he kind of keeping the bottom lane under control, but he's also keeping the middle section in play, managing to keep these drivers at bay there from that end. And then if you take a close look at the driving style again, you can see less movement inside that steering wheel. Again, not having to worry about that draft so much on the front of him. So he keeps the controls in this position. It allows the machine to stay right in place for where he wants it. Lucas Wright right now, again, kind of keeping the 11 in check and in play right now. It's pretty crazy to think right now. You got a Toyota Supra, not Camry, that's the Supra. You got the Ford Mustang and you got a Chevy Camaro, all in the top three right now, as Rusty Robinson currently is our lone Chevy guy in the top three. Not the lone in the top five, though. He's got Frank Caruso right behind him there, and then another Toyota Supra and Rocco Stallone right there behind him as well, trying to stay in the lane and kind of stay in control of their own destinies. It's going to be very interesting to see, though, like when we get closer and closer to that pit end and where things go from there, we'll see what happens. Got some travelers on the sides right now. I got some movement in the playing field again. It's one thing that's going to be really hard for the first race this season, at least for me anyway. Is again, because unless things get a little bit more chaotic, early on in these play races, you're going to see a lot of these drivers, again, just trying to keep themselves under control, trying to kind of will their way into the strategy. So you will see a lot of passing here and there, but really, you're not going to see a whole lot of big, crazy moves being done this early on. You'll see it more towards the middle of the race, and then of course towards that end, because you know how super speedways will play out. But for the moment right now, again, they're going to be kind of taking it easy and under control. So if you do think I'm a little bit subdued right now, just keep in mind that we haven't gotten to the craziness yet. So if you've never seen our broadcast, you're in for a treat when we get things crazy on this show. But speaking of making a bit of a move off here, BJ Lane, that 00, and the 8 of Ronald Robertson. Yeah, they're making a little bit of a charge in that middle groove here. First drivers now to get the middle groove put into place here. Pushing up towards the top side here, trying to get some more momentum laid down on the track to see if they can get it nailed up on the lanes here. Opportunities now even starting to increase here as the 6-7, William Yoakum. He now sees a shot here to make a run. Here comes the Supra. We're going to go on board with William. I want you guys to pay close attention to this. Watch this as he gets that car now at full speed. He's at full power. Watch as the car again is trying to stay in control of the side draft on his left, while at the same time trying to land that draft in right ahead of him. And look at how quick that pulls up. That car again, it doesn't have to push hard. It goes up so hard and quick that it's able to get that momentum just at the right level of playing field. And that's exactly what William was hoping for and counting on. And that's why he got right into that group there as quick as he did. The 33 of Jonathan Campbell here, right on the tail end there with the number 44 of Rocco Stallone here. I guess it might be a good time, better than anything, to mention that pack in the back now. And even though you see that gap there spread out a good bit of ways, that doesn't really mean anything to these drivers right here, because again, from the 95 on back, these drivers, if they line them up and they need to start pushing, they got plenty of time to get to that 9 of Alan Marr and the rest of the group here, because the fact is, that draft line and that power, when all the cars line up together and come together, it's like a beautiful ritual of just peace and inner thoughts, almost like a yin to the yang. Just gets that momentum mixed in between with good gasoline and oil, and it just works beautifully into that heavy piece of machinery. But as at the moment right now, again, trying to keep it under control. Don't want to rock the boat too much or get a little too crazy as I say that. Whoa, hold on, whoa, Yoakum, hang on, buddy. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Oh, no, he couldn't quite get it out of there. We got a yellow. Watch out on the front. We got Vincent spinning around. Oh, man. Not the way we wanted to do that around here. 14 laps in. And Yoakum going into the grass, and the next thing you know, he gets sent into the back. We're going to the Speed Zone TV Instant Replay Race fans. Let's take a look at this one here from point A to point B. What started this mess? Here's another look at it. All right, let's see. Looks like everyone's a little bit all over the place. Oh, right there. There you see it. The number 8, Ronald Robertson, came down slightly on the 67. Yoakum tries to get back in there. Vincent Short kind of squeezed in the middle, gets right into it with them. Yoakum able to get out of it. Not so fortunate, though, for the number 15. And I've known Vincent Short quite a long ways. I've seen him race plenty of times, and I've called numerous amounts of his races. He's a tough competitor, and I know he will not take too kindly to being put into this position that soon. But will he have enough time to get the damage fixed up and get back to work on the track here with the speed he's going to need to carry? One last look at it here. See right there again, just didn't really have anywhere to go. He's trying to avoid the driver on the outside and ends up kind of getting into collision course there. Now, I will say for Vincent, it looks like he doesn't have too much damage on the car. He only had a clip on the rear fender, and he's got a right front piece of panel there that also got damaged, unfortunately. So I don't know how much of a difference maker that's going to make, but that, at least for now, is what we're seeing here in the booth. Race fans, while we're getting us under caution here, we'd like to give a big thank you to our sponsors for this new season here for Heart to Heart Motorsports IROC Series. This race, of course, presented in part by our friends at Buchanan Resort, Spa Auto Sales, Allen Tillery Chevrolet, and, of course, ALC Contractors. A big thank you to all those that help support us getting onto the show tonight, as well as getting Heart to Heart Motorsports out onto the Daytona International Speedway here today. I still see your comments, folks. I've not been missing any of this here. I do appreciate the commenting as well here, Tina. There, nice in car view. Appreciate that. Kiana Henderson doing great commentating, in my opinion. I appreciate that, Kiana. Crazy Catfish says, "Where's the side bets?" I mean, what kind of side bets you thinking? What are we gonna bet on tonight? What's the bet? What's the over under? I'm a table games dealer on my primary job. What do we got? And no, that is not a joke. I literally do work for a casino, so if we want to talk over-unders and the side bets here, let's do it. I always love having a good little fun game here. Speaking of fun game, let's take a look at our pit stops here out on pit road, race fans. From the pit side, it will be Lucas Wright and everyone below him coming out. Looks like it is going to be gas and go for most of them. Rocco Stallone going to stay in pit road a little longer. Looks like he decided to take a little bit more time and fuel to clean up some damage. Looks like tires and fuel for, looks like Barry Jones in the 20, as well as it looks like a couple of the others here. So that is what I'm seeing on the lineup here. Very interesting time to kind of throw the pit strategy calls up onto the books here. Here is a look at our stint links here. Now again, everybody you see on that top spot, that yellow coordinates for how long they've been out. When you see the blue, that means that driver has now been into pit road at least once. So it alternates yellow and blue. If you see blue, that means they've already been in there. If you see yellow, that means they're staying out for now. So keep an eye out for that when we do see some more cars get out on and around the speedway here. Very interesting strategy, though, for some of them to go in where others decided not to and opt to stay out. I assume because track position is going to be extremely keen here, which, again, we've talked about it over and over again. These Daytona and Talladega races, and even now the Atlanta Superspeedway races, you've got to make sure you have good track awareness, track position, and control of the state of the race. One wrong move, and the next thing you know, you end up setting yourself back into the shadow realm. All right, well, we got side bets going on here, race fans, so let's see what we got. Dina Lane says, "I bet on Bobby Joe, the 02. He's on his way." And then Luemis Ren says, "My money is on 33. All right. Well, I'll let you guys do your side bets here. I am not going to be doing any side bets because I need to stay as neutral of an announcer as I am with running my mouth on this sim. Lord knows I'm already a dead man walking for whatever can come out of my mouth next. So we'll see how this one comes down to the track. Lane Powell will continue to lead us down to the lanes here, as we'll get into lap number 18. Remember, 65 laps must be completed to finish this race. BJ Lane now, currently, he is our Hard Charger Award recipient. He is 11 spots up in the field. Next one closest to him here, which could be changing any second now, is that 91 of Joe Flack. He is currently 10 spots up in the field. And if I am a betting man, when you get up that quick and get up that fast, that tells me something. Let's see what the odds play into their favor. Crazy Catfish, he did win this cup. I love the Cars reference, my friend. Well done, sir. Well done. Bring him on down that front straightaway here, back into our restart zone. Set him on back down to the green here. To heart restart zone. Brings him back to the line. Here we go. Lane Powell immediately getting the jump. Big push here from the number 14 of Frank Caruso as they'll push their way down the front straightaway into turn one. Caruso immediately seeing what's up behind him and immediately knows what that 71 of Lucas Wright's capable of. He was behind him for a good majority of that before that caution came out. Down the back straightaway, though, the number 5, Rusty Robinson. Can't quite tell if he is trying to get back into the bottom groove or if he wants to stay in the middle groove. But right now, he's got 2 other drivers that are telling him something else. Justin Campbell, BJ Lane right now trying to find the big huff, the big puff, and the big push to get it up to the front. Screaming down the front straightaway here. Lane Powell still keeping himself under control, keeping himself occupied. Dan Colson here. Looks like he's now trying to make his way into the zone and into the battle. Moving the charge up. He is 7 spots up. He qualified in the 11th spot today. Not too shabby for one of the built for tough Fords here. Big question here is, though, is what is going to happen when he needs to start to kind of lay low and start to really take things under control. So far, he seems like he feels pretty happy in that position. You saw he had a good run there going on the 71. Then he kind of let off, kind of tempoed it down. And again, that's something you'll see a lot from these drivers here, is they're going to be on and off that throttle here. They will be constantly trying their best to make their moves and making their runs when they can and trying to find the speeds where they gotta. Loomis ran now, that's okay. I don't mind one bit. We want all the fans here to join, come talk, chat with us, and have a little fun. Well, comparatively, the last packed field we had a little earlier on, you can see this gap right now at the moment is in a much better state in terms of overall control. Every one of these drivers right now just trying to stay closer to the gaps and closer to the pack than they did, in my opinion, what we saw earlier. Certainly got to be a very clever bit of lane choice and overall ingenuity being put into full use. Right now, William Martin as well as Steve Harrison. Earlier on, they were stuck in that big pack there. Now they are closing up their gap. And really, too, something to note, William Martin and Steve Harrison both had gone into pit road. So they have taken a fuel on the run here. So that can make a bit of a difference. It can make a bit of a charge in terms of that overall pace here. Vincent Short seems like he's got the damage all repaired up on the number 15. All cleaned up and back and ready to use here. But now he knows he can't get too sloppy. Get back up to the front here and having to go at it with these drivers in the mix, because one wrong move again and, well, that car will be done for the rest of the night, and he knows he does not want that. Michael Hodson saying Bud Light in my cup, and then Loomis thinking more like an Iowan as I am as well, saying anyone want to push apple? Yep, that's what I'm talking about. For those that don't know, I'm an Iowa boy, so you know our favorite Halloween candy here in Iowa, of course, is a good old Bush. So a good Bush apple or a Bush Light, don't mind if we do. Speaking of don't mind if we do, the old Benny Jones, number 20, looks like he is having a good little run off here. Stuck in the pack a little bit there for a bit. Now he's kind of catching up into the middle group here. He's got a group of drivers kind of staying with him, kind of leveraging off to make sure they have plenty of time and energy to get right up into the race lanes here. Lane Powell still managing the field and working through everything here on the surface. You know, the one thing I am curious, though, and we got to kind of talk about this for a second, is what is going to happen when these drivers decide it's time to go to fight? What will the 11 do? Will he go into full defensive mode, or will he be able to take full offensive mode when he gets past and use that same aggression he's using right now in the race league? Because that's a big thing right now that I don't think he's really thinking too much about. And if he is, it's really in the back of his mind. But you got to always think as a driver, one wrong situation or one wrong thing you do, and you're going to find yourself literally just wishing you had made the right choices sooner rather than later. Andrew Lohmeyer right now, he qualified in the 4th spot, down 1 spot here, but Lohmeyer looking pretty comfortable where he's at here. Again, not getting the car too loose, he's just keeping it nice and steady. You know, something too I haven't really mentioned as well is that you see a lot of these cars, they're kind of getting in and out, kind of swerving around in that draft. You got to think for a second. These things, again, have a lot of tape on the front of these cars and then on the noses. And again, you need to make sure that the engine can breathe. You want aerodynamic dependency to be perfect and set up right. That's always true. But in stock car racing and racing in general, one thing you cannot let have happen is let that engine overcook and get too hot on you. If you cook that engine up, what are you running with? It's like your heart. If the heart stops, you ain't going nowhere. But then again, you probably end up in the zone you probably didn't want to be in the first place, but that's for a better story. So again, you will see a lot of these drivers, you see they'll probably get those oil temperatures up too high. Once that oil gets up too much, then these cars need to get in and out, swerve through the traffic or swerve off the grip, get fresh, clean air to come into their system, and that then allows them to make sure that the oil doesn't get any hotter and it cools down just enough to let them keep running. So it's not even just a matter of the fact the car is loose on the entries and exits because they're getting so much speed and power kicked up. It's also because they're trying to make sure the car can breathe down there and get oxygen into the oil tank and into the engine block, so that way it can let more speed be put into good use and not overcook the engine. Because once that engine cooks, well, it overheats, you're done for. You don't have any choice. You're going to slow down or you're just going to blow it up, and it's going to be the end of your day. Working on down through the lanes here. We now move our heads over to the 0-2 of Bobby Lane Jr. Bobby tonight running the Spa Auto Sales number 02 Chevrolet Camaro. And pretty much been kind of keeping a nice little pace here from where he's been at. Stayed out of trouble when the big wrecks happen. Got himself some fuel and is playing a very big strategy call here. Though I do like the idea, I do like the planning here. Gotta be smarter than the rest and thinking quicker than the best. We got a new one in the chat here. Brian7417 says, my boy Lane Powell leading the pack. Yes, he is indeed. And he's been holding on that lead from the very beginning. He has not lost it yet. Hey, it says going to make a run to the garage fridge. Yep, definitely do it. Get some drink. Got to get them food, get them drinks, get a sandwich or get some chips and a drink. Whatever will settle you in, because we still have a long race ahead and the excitement can only get crazier from here. Diane, I don't know if anybody would really want to have that Cougar on the car here in this case, unless there's a big me on the front. I mean, I'm just saying, if I put the Cougar on the car, I'm gonna make sure it definitely says me on there, and then on the nameplate, I'll make sure it has a little bit of love to a same Talladega Nights man in himself. Pacing their way right on around here. Every driver here doing what they can, just trying to stay in control and in contention. Ronald Robertson here, kind of surprising at the 8, falling back as much as he is right now. I don't know if he's just trying to kind of take clear of something here, or maybe just trying to keep himself in control. But or maybe he sees something that we don't, but honestly, falling back quite a few spots here. He was up in the top 10 there for a bit, now moved into the 20th spot, so could be just kind of staying clear of issues and maybe just kind of playing possum here, but I will say now with that 20 of Benny Jones and the rest of that field, they are starting to kind of gravitate back further and further here. Might need to start picking the pace up and getting up closer to that front gap there, because if those drivers in the front decide to lock horns with Lane Powell and then just drive it from there, well, let's just say I wouldn't really want to be them in this case. Fans, I've done quite a bit of talking, but now it's time for the drivers to do the talking. Settle on down, crank up the speeds. It's time to crank it up here on Speed Zone TV. Sometimes, honestly, it's just better to let the drivers do the talking with their motors in the palm of their feet and the steering of the ways of the lanes in their hands, grasping that steering wheel and directing traffic throughout. A whole bunch of drivers right now currently kind of tiptoed around, kind of going back into the mix of the pack here. Some drivers were getting a little bit all over the place and couldn't quite get squared up again. Right now, your top 4 drivers here are now bridging the gap. The gap is now about 3 seconds. 3 and 4/10 of a second is what I was meaning to say there. Dan Collison, Lucas Wright, Frank Caruso, and Lane Powell lead the way. Joe Flack and the rest of them right now trying to get into a drive line spot here. This is what I call the Daytona Talladega draft train, because this is where you got to mill that speed up. You got to put the coal into the engine blocks and set that bad boy on fire. I'll say this in the comment section too. Y'all are a bunch of lively bunch down there. I love it. It's always good to see you have a little fun. Good to see a good bunch of you guys down there chatting up. Michael Hodson saying go Joe Flash down there, showing a little bit of love, I assume, to the number 91 of Joe Flack down there. Dean Lane still rooting on for Bobby Joe as well. Bobby's still in the hunt, not out of this one yet. Got a whole lot of laps still left needed to be completed. We're just now past our halfway point, so now this is where things get a little bit more interesting. Though I do wonder, though, with those drivers up front, were they thinking about that pit stop, and maybe if it's too little too late to make the right call and the right decision, they're going to be in a very tough ordeal here, as we're going to have our first driver under a lap down, Scott Cazenave. I hope I am saying that last name right. Cazenave? producers, you're going to have to help me out on this one. I'm pretty sure it's Cazenave, but I may be completely wrong. So, Scott, if I'm saying your last name wrong, I do apologize. But he has fallen into the last lap's position, so he has been lapped up by the field. He'll need to get some luck here and a little bit of a quick draw on the shot to make a move here to get back into this one. Just to give you guys a good idea of how far that gap is from one another here. This is the 5th spot on back, and here is your 4th spot. That is the gap right now they're working with. And they, again, have to think about this. That, again, a lot of them went into pit road early on, and I think about only 6 or 7 of them did not. So those pit lane stops, those pit times right now are going to be very, very crucial for those that did go into pit road, for which those that did not. Time to put the pit lane times up on the clock here. Here is the last time on the spot here. Now, the race fans, what I want you to pay close attention to down here is the sea of red. That red is, in this case, the time gap that was gained by the driver on the top row. Now, whoever was on the top row there, if they did not gain some ground on the one from below, then that will be a gain for the one on top. If it turns green, that means the one on the bottom gained to the top. I hope I'm kind of making sense to you on that, because I feel like I just kind of messed that up. And see right there, yet again, more time lost. Colson, Black, and Robinson, they switched out by about 0.2 of a second there. And that is a very tough ordeal, to say the least, in that case. Now we take a look at right up front there, right up ahead there, Colson. Now notice this, you see he actually gained traction there on right. So Colson was able to make some time up and bind his time there and make the run he needed to, and got a little bit closer up. But here comes pit stops now, and it looks like Lane Powell gonna be the first one in pit road, and he's got a few more coming with him. Oh, look out, look out. Woo, no! That definitely is going to be a pit entry penalty, I'll tell you that much. RC's going to have some work to do there. The 2 of William Martin and the 69 of James Borden clipping it up in pit road, entering in for pit road. Lane Powell's in first. He'll get it going quickly. Rusty Robinson, Rocco Stallone, Jonathan Campbell, BJ Lane, Joe Flack, and William Yoakum were the ones in pit road. So they're the first ones to blink here, but is this possibly the right decision? It's hard to say, because again, there's still a lot of time left on the clock. Though I must say, they lasted out 39 laps on the speedway here, so that could be the difference maker. Number 12 here, Dan Collison. He goes into pit road now with Lucas Wright. So that means Frank Caruso, he's going to be a race leader, but, well, let's just say I wouldn't want to count my chickens till they hatch. That 3-second gap is not going to last long when you are all on your own. I'll tell you that much for free. He's going to try and catch up some drivers here. He's going to try and pick somebody up with him. If Frank can pick somebody up with him, this is going to be a big opportunity, because what this will do is going to allow him to basically keep that gap further away from those other drivers and give him a shot here before he heads into pit road. And there he goes, going to go to pit road now. Will anybody join him? So far, no one yet. And I think Frank might be all on his own. That's going to be a very troublesome dilemma here. Alan Marr is going to be the new race leader. So out of literally nearly almost 40 laps, the number 11 of Powell was your race leader, then surrendered it, gave it to Caruso. Caruso only getting 1 lap led. Now Alan Marr, who has already been into pit road, he was in pit road on lap number 15, mind you. He's got a full tank of gas, but the thing is he probably does not have enough to get this thing to the final ends here. Again, if we're looking at our pit strategy time again, let's take a look at this. We can see that they are already running themselves thin on about 27 to 20 or so odd laps. And really, what we got to think about here is, again, they only got roughly about 36 to 38 laps of fuel. So if you do the math right there, you can see already they're going to be at least 10 to 15 short, depending on the driver and depending on who is out there running right now. Bobby Lane Jr., as I was saying all that, has now kindled the race lead. He's got Austin Cornprops right behind him. Cornprops right now doing what he needs to here to stay with Bobby Lane Jr. A lot of runs left to go still, and a lot of time left on the clock. You know, if I am anybody in this front pack, though, I'm not going to say the broadcaster curse here, but I will say that if I'm anyone in that front, I'm looking for something very special right now. I'm kind of looking for a little help. I'm not going to say what kind of help, because I don't want it to happen. Because if it happens, then you know the broadcaster curse is truly a real thing. But you can just imagine these guys right now in that top 10 and up, they want that specific little flag to fly out. Opportunities are going to be running really low here, and right now keeping your speeds up and your speed alive going to be extremely difficult on all sets here. Right now, everyone that's 12th on back is at least a lap down. But, again, you got to think for a second here. Everyone that's on the 11th spot and up, they have to go to pit road one more time here. So now that really is kind of bailing down to which one is going to get the break here and which one is going to find themselves in possibly the worst predicament ever. Dina Lane says the guy's name right. All right, perfect. I guess I can at least announce somewhat okay then. I swear that's like one of my bad habits I just have around here. I'll tell you this, race fans, just got a little sidebar here, but literally just the other night, one of my local racetracks I announced for, I had a kid that literally I just kept messing up on his last name. Finally, they literally told my boss and just came up to me and said, a word from the streets here, this is how you actually say their name, so I don't want to keep getting nudged around. So, as always, I basically said, like, hey, I will make sure I get it right this time as I got to their name, and I made sure to not forget it from there. So, but again, I do write these things down and make sure I get proper pronunciations. I'm very picky about that stuff, and and as you're a driver, I would want the same thing to basically be called the right name, not something silly that actually came out of my mouth. You would have thought right now with Scott K's name that he would have been basically in the race lead, but no, he is actually almost a lap down. If Bobby Lane Jr. gets around him here, he's going to go back a lap down, but right now he's almost kind of the saving grace for Bobby and the rest of that crew, because right now he can actually be a little bit of that fuel saver and a bit of that time gap change to help him out here. $18 laps now left on the docket. When is the drivers there in this position needing to go to pit road, and will everyone follow in lane and follow in suit? Because again, you just never know what might come up. You never know what might happen. If anything, if I'm the drivers right now in all that lanes, I'm working with the spotters. I'm working with the crews. I'm saying, hey, Guys, we need to make sure we are literally setting this thing up to get into pit road at the same exact time, because that's the only shot that we have got to make sure that we stay one step ahead of those lap traffic when they come up and try to pass us. So once you get back on that pit road exit, you're literally full send. You're full throttle. You're trying to get everything squared up. You're trying to get that row aligned. You're trying to get the train going. You are doing whatever you have to do to try and hopefully get the brakes and make them and not make the mistakes. Something kind of interesting right now here, looking at our gap zone right now. It looks like the number 12 of Dan Collison, who is literally right in the gap and right here with Frank Caruso, who is also a lap down, is actually in a pretty favorable position right now, all things considered. You got to remember that Caruso and Collison had to go in a little bit later than everybody else, and they are literally right in the midst and the feed of this. So if this continues to go green, I'm not a betting man, but I think you got to give the nod to the 12 and the 14 here, folks. They might be the ones that hit the strategy up if it goes green. Michael Watson rooting on his driver there in the number 20 here, Benny Jones. As Benny now heads the pit road, looks like he's going to try and get this thing in and out quickly. He's going to take tires on it. I'm kind of surprised that strategy here. I would have thought he would have avoided it. Opportunities now starting to dwindle down. You got more drivers going for pit road, or more just trying to stay out of the roads. Looks like the 79 at Brandon Wrestler is going to go into pit road. Was already a lap down to begin with, so pretty much now just kind of taking the opportunity to stay out of trouble and let the leaders go at it. Good racemanship and good sportsmanship and good racecraft on their part. Bobby Lane Jr. here still leading it down. Austin Cornfrost right now still in the mix. Alan Marr, Ryan Perrone, and Vincent Short looking for opportunities and looking for a break here if they can get it. You're on board, Robert, with Mr. Alan Marr. Take a look at the pit strategy time sheets here again. Let's see the lap counter here, and there you see it right there, folks. That's the difference, and that is the place we're in right now. Something I just kind of noticed too, the 8th position, Casanave, is actually the 03. Not doing too bad in terms of actually his overall position, but he is still a whole lap down if he gets past here. But just kind of the idea here, thinking about it, if somehow, some way this doesn't go green and something happens, he might actually have the bit of the best shot here, because as well with that 12 and 14, because again, basically speaking, they've got more they got more options, they got more opportunities kind of nailed down through this point of position here. Hard to really say who is going to get the golden shovel to put the dirt on the graves of these drivers. Tina Lane saying corn post is pronunciation, so it's corn post, right? Corn post, is that how you say it? I just want to make sure I'm not messing up down there. Hey, we got Lauren Belk as well saying, come on, number 33 down there. Lauren, thanks for joining in as well. Thank you everyone as well that's been tuning on into the show. If you guys are new to the channel, by the way, Feel free to like and follow us up on our Facebook. Subscribe here, of course, on YouTube. Keep commenting and liking as well. Gets more viewers and eyes on the show. And I guarantee you this season we got plenty more craziness to mix in. It's a long season ahead, and we cannot wait to show it. So Austin Cornpost here, if I'm saying that now correctly. 14 spots up, 16 spots up for Bobby Lane Jr., 16 spots up for Ryan Perrone. And your ultimate hard charger award, believe it or not, is the number 13, Steve Harrison. He's 17 positions up, qualified in 23rd. He is currently trying to travel from the outhouse and get to the White House. And depending on how the rest of these drivers do right now, that could change things here. All right, here we go now with 10 to go. Things are going to start getting interesting. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. There's the pit stops. Here comes the pit lane. Bobby Lane, Cornpost, Alan Marr, Ryan Perrone, Vincent Short. They're all in pit road. Now we'll throw the timesheets back up here. Let's see where we're at. Benny Jones actually with a fresh set of fuel and a fresh set of tires here. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, whoa. Trouble down there on the back straightaway. You got a major wreck ensuing trying to get a number on that William Martin. No caution out on the track. We'll go to the replay real quick and see what the heck transpired that got us into this mess. Take another look at it. It looks like, yeah, right down there. Look at this. Martin was down low, but the 67 of William Yoakum, not realizing where he was at, and then bam, smashing it right inside the inside wall there. And a terrible, terrible break there. And the thing is, we are still racing out, so we are still green and clean. Off pit road. I guess I got to kind of owe it to that 95 down there. He didn't give an inch, and neither did Bobby Lane Jr. They got out of pit road quickly, and they made their strategy call. This is what I was talking about, though, earlier, was whether or not they can weather the storm and make things correct on the choice. They got everyone in the group. They worked together. That was beautiful strategy and well played there. Two drivers down and out. We've lost William Martin. Rocco Stallone is out too. William Yoakum out of the race. Now, with four drivers on the lead battle, Ronald Robertson, the 8. You see up in the outside lane currently trying to get back into this mix. Lane Powell and his group there trying to somehow, some way will everybody else back in and hopefully make this an interesting one. But I think their time might be running out here. Huge group of drivers right now trying to stay in this one, just trying to hope for the best. But at this point, there is but only 4 drivers who have a definitive shot to get themselves into victory lane here. And that pit strategy call again, you gotta hand it to them. They thought about it, they played it smart, they made the right choice. Can't deny that is pretty ingenious in my opinion. But now my question is when do they decide to make it a race for the ages? Do they go with on final 5? Do they decide to wait for 3, or do they wait till maybe the absolute final 2 or last lap? Yeah, you got to be just feeling as well for a lot of these other drivers here. They just got to be kicking themselves inside the head right now, thinking, man, what could have been? What did we do wrong, and where did we go wrong down there? And honestly, I don't think really any of them made a wrong choice or a wrong decision. I think it all boiled down to just the luck of the draw, because that caution, when it came out, it threw everybody's strategy out the window and threw a lot of drivers into a bad spot. And I think now the crows are coming to roost. Here we go, off turn number 4. This time on by, we got a final 5-lap shootout. Corn Pros, Bobby Lane Jr., Alan Marr, Vincent Short. Those are your seated drivers. That is the final 4 here out of the final 5 laps. And you got Ronald Robertson just looking on from behind. Maybe could be a teammate for somebody at the Natum. You know, if I'm Ronald right now, honestly, I might honestly be thinking jump ahead of him. Get your lap back, son. Get something, get a chance at it, because if something happens, you're already ahead of the gap. You got a shot at it. That would be my strategy call, but perhaps maybe he wants to let him just race it out and finish it on a clean high note. 4 now to go. I do know what the thing on screen says there with Corn Pros, just to keep in mind that he is not in pit road. He's literally leading it out right now. Only separated out by mere inches in between one another. Every driver for himself now, just starting to pull on full steam ahead. Lane Jr., Marr and Short, all hunting down that 95 driver right at the moment. Looking for the golden shot, looking for the golden ticket to that beautiful chocolate factory of delicious victory. But to do it, you gotta get around this guy. Be patient, be clever, be smart, and be still. Ooh, the energy and the adrenaline right now these drivers must be feeling. I know exactly what it feels like. It's high octane, it is high intelligence, and it's literally just putting everything you've got, not only in from your brain, but into your body system, and just hoping you keep everything inside just for one more set of laps to go on by. Final 2 laps left to go. Next time by, we will get the white flag. That will end the race no matter what. Whoa, Vincent Short right up on the outside lane. Looked like he was trying to go for a run there. Smacked up into the wall protection. Now needs to try to get back with the 9 of Alan Marr. Or maybe take that 8 with him if he'll follow him. Vincent, though, knows he needs to get going, though. And he's running out of time. That was a major mistake by the 15. We saw it earlier where he got trapped in the wreck on the front straightaway. Now needs to stay back in the lane. He can't get back down, though. If I'm Alan Marr right now, I don't know what he's doing. I'd get him right back in front of me and start pushing and shoving, because here we go. It's time for the white flag lap. White flag high in the sky, this time on by. Presented part tonight by our friends at Spa Auto Sales. This one will be a doozy. 2 drivers theoretically looking to finish this one on the highest of notes, looking for the race win. Vincent Short, Alan Marr right now trying to get the draft, trying to build up speed. Short's back in line. Marr's right there with him. Can they get it? Do they have enough time? The slingshot must be engaged. They've got to get it going. He's got a grip. He's got some speed. Marr right there with it. But they don't have as long of a front straightaway in Daytona. That's not enough time. Bobby Lane Jr., what will he do? Looking down. It's going to be Austin Corn Pros to the way. Woo! Well, pure speed and power mixed in between. But Austin Corn Pros tonight is going to win this round, the very first victory in the new season of the Heart to Heart Motorsports IROC Series. This man literally traveled 15 spots up, same as Bobby Lane Jr., tying tonight for the Hard Charger Award recipients. 16th and 17th qualified. Don't matter to them. They are the ones that outsmart the field and take it to victory lane. And I think there's going to be a celebration in that 95 camp here in a second. There truly is nothing like winning in Daytona. Race fans, here it is, your final results presented in part by Alan Tillery Chevrolet. Austin Corpro's going to finish this one on the highest of notes, taking it to victory lane. Bobby Lane Jr. helping pushing him to the championship spot tonight for the win. Vincent Short going to go third in the podium spot. Alan Marr did everything he could to kind of hang in there with the 15 and get one last push. Wasn't enough time. Benny Jones, very, very late pit strategy call. Pays off beautifully for a top 5. Major points implicated there. The 0-3 of Scott Kinsnave, man, he worked everything he had in there and did what he could. Dan Colson, same situation. Frank Caruso, honestly, I thought those two that I just mentioned, I thought maybe if things went a little differently, I thought it was their race to lose. But it turns out that pit strategy call from those guys there in the top 4 just nailed it. Steve Harrison getting into the 9th spot, and BJ Lane going to round it out with the top 10. The rest of your finishers on your screen. What a performance here for Heart to Heart Motorsports. A great showing out of the gate, in my opinion. Wonderful performance, to say the least. Race fans, there's just one last bit of work I got to do tonight, and I think you guys know what time it is. It's time to chat with our top drivers here tonight. Let's start off with your race winner here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for the 95 of Austin Cornpros. And Austin, congratulations getting here into victory lane. First race this season, and you just absolutely killed it out there, my friend. How in the heck did you pull off that pit strategy there at the end?
You know, we wanted to start in the back just to avoid all the chaos, and that first caution come out, we decided to just go ahead and pit. That way we could all be together, and we stuck together all night, and I think we had them by like 15 laps of fuel when everybody else pitted, so we just stuck together and just tried to put as much time in between all of us. So yeah, it worked out. It was a really good race.
Really good race indeed. And I mean, all around, I mean, really, it seemed like once the first kind of set of pit stops were made and everything was kind of going in that playing field, I mean, it seemed like it was pretty hard to make the big jumps and those big moves when you need to. So really, how were you able to do, once you got out of pit road, to be able to kind of get up to that front and then hold everybody else off, considering how loose these things can get?
I mean, like I said, it just comes down to your teammates. If you're on the same playing field with your teammates, if you pit the same time, your marginal laps are all the same, you're all going to come out at the same time. So it's pretty easy to link up from there.
And indeed you did. Well, Austin, you had quite a bit of fans rooting you on here tonight, and I got to believe you got a few folks you want to thank here. So who's going to be thanking tonight here in Victory Lane?
Yeah, I want to thank Heart to Heart, Auto Sales, ALC Contractors, Buchanan Resort. I want to thank Speed Zone for coming on this year. Can't wait to go back and watch the broadcast. I'm sure it's good. And Alan Tillery, and I want to thank my teammates tonight. I couldn't have done it without them.
For sure there. Well, Austin, man, what a way to start off the season, putting her into victory lane. Congratulations, and we'll catch you next time on out, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the 95 of Austin Cornpros. Now on to the show here, race fans. Your second place finisher here tonight. He pilots the 0-2. Give it up for Bobby Lane Jr. And Bobby. Woo, boy, oh boy, buddy. Yeah, as we just heard there a second ago from Austin, you worked as a team and you fight it out as a team. 1-2 finish for you and your crew, and man, that's got to be something good to start the season off right.
Yeah, it was a good race. Our strategy came down, did good. Scott got in a little. I actually got into him when that first wreck came out, caused him a little damage, got him a little behind, but he recovered good. And we finished 19th and 20th last season in this race, so I'll take second.
Take second indeed here. Bobby, I mean, saw it late earlier on the race there. It seemed like you were kind of stuck, kind of traveling in the back of the pack. I mean, really, I got to ask you, how did you and Austin, like, all of a sudden, let alone any of the other drivers, be able to figure out how to travel from that outhouse and get up much closer to the White House there in the later stages of this race?
Well, we were actually really fast the whole race. We were just holding back, just cruising back there for a long time. I think we could have took the top at any time in the race, and us four or so ran to the front, but we didn't want to go up there and get wrecked. So we just kind of sit back there, and then once they started pitting, I kept telling the guys, let's just stay in line, run the fastest laps we can run, and cut your tires off, and we only had to take like 5 laps of fuel, so our pit stop would have been shorter than theirs, and it worked out. I mean, I think we were like 8 seconds ahead of the second pack.
From what I've seen, it was about 8 to 5 seconds from point A to point B. But yep, that sounds about right. And nevertheless, Bobby, it puts you in the second place tonight. So who are we going to thank here tonight for taking this silver medal on home in Daytona?
Well, I'm gonna thank my wife for letting me sit up here and race, and I'm gonna thank Speed Zone for coming aboard, and Spa Auto Sales for sponsoring my car, and Buchanan Resort, and Alan Tillery, and ASC Contractors, and anybody else who donates to this league. Man, this is an awesome league.
Absolutely. Well, hey man, you had quite a few folks as well rooting you on in the chat tonight. I think you've made them pretty happy tonight. Congratulations out there, buddy.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up again for the 02, Bobby Lane Jr. Now, joining me in our final spot here today, race fans, the driver that, in my opinion, had to go through the most chaos to get to this position, and that is the number 15 of Vincent Short. Vincent, well, I mean, honestly, what else can you say? You went through the chaos and headache there that was that first caution and rallied back up to a third-place finish. I mean, that in of itself, honestly, is just impressive. But how in the heck were you able to kind of dose that thing back into position, let alone fight back as hard as you did there?
A lot of tiptoeing without a quick repair.
It's certainly the case indeed. When you say tiptoe in this case, I mean, really, was it kind of having to kind of stay back in that lane choice where you were at earlier on? Because you were almost in the dead last area, and then once things started to kind of spread out from the gap and the pit stops, and you started to find a little bit more momentum and run, was that where you started to kind of find the draft lanes and just find the openings to get the move charging?
Yeah, once I was grouped up with Scotty, BJ, and AK, I know they run pretty smooth lines, so I just rode with them for a while. They decided to go up top there for a while. I didn't want to risk it that early with all the guys that were floating up so much. You know, I just wanted to kind of hang back and hang in that clump until we could get up there towards the end, because I knew fuel-wise I was sitting pretty good, because I was pretty much on the same fuel mileage they were because of that wreck earlier, and I was able to fuel off. So I just saved fuel, and when they came in, I came in with them, and it worked out good for me. I was hoping to at least get up on Bobby Joe's bumper and kind of give him a little bit of a challenge, but at that point I was fine with the podium at this point, considering where I started from.
For sure there, and at the end of the day, a podium certainly going to help you out with the points, and certainly going to help you out getting to the top honors here by hopefully the end of the season. So Vincent, I must ask you, sir, who are we thanking here for getting us to this podium spot today?
Well, first and foremost, my wife. My wife's my biggest supporter. She watches all the races and supports iRacing, Heart to Heart League. The guys are just the best, man. They make it so much fun. Even when we have a bad night, man, it's kind of hard to be mad at anybody because everybody's so gracious about stuff and apologetic. Makes it a lot more fun to run. Speed Zone Racing TV, my main sponsor, Track Bar Motorsports, and Andrew and a lot of the other guys that I raced with tonight that helped out and got me where I needed to be.
All right, well, man, I think you have made every single one of them proud and definitely happy with this position here tonight. Vincent, congratulations getting it done here tonight in Daytona.
Thanks again. See everybody next week.
For sure there. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the number 15 of Vincent Short. And with that, race fans, we've concluded a season opener to what I think could be a very crazy and wonderful season. Thanks so much for everyone that tuned on in, joined the chats, and chatted up with us. Pleasure to have you on board and see you come along. Come along with us next time as we visit a little trip to old Miles the Monster down in Dover Motor Speedway. But until then, race fans, stay safe. Take care. God bless. Good night, everyone, from Daytona.